Hello everyone. This is second lecture in DC-DC converter, and in this lecture I'll discuss about the DC-DC buck converter, its working and component design. So as I discussed in the last class, that for constructing any DC-DC converter, we require some kind of power electronic switches, and that is control switches and uncontrolled switches, and also we require energy storing elements. So we don't use any resistive element because it dissipates energy. So the one of the objective is to design DC-DC converter which is very efficient. Okay, so efficiency is the key point. So for that reason we are not using any resistive element in constructing the DC-DC converter. So this is the circuit diagram of a buck converter. So you can see that we have used here one MOSFET switch. MOSFETs normally used in DC-DC converter because they can be turned on and off at a very high rate. That means the switching frequency is very high in case of MOSFETs in comparison to other power electronic switches, and that will actually help in to reduce the uh, ripples in the voltages and currents. So we have used one MOSFET switch here, we have used one diode here, one inductor, one capacitor. So these four elements will form the buck converter. So input side we are having DC, and output side we will get reduced DC, okay, or step down DC. So in its working there are two states, one is on state, another is off state. In on state the switch is turned on. Okay, so you can see that once the switch is turned on, so this is like short circuit if it is an ideal MOSFET. So you can see that this diode will be in reverse bias because this will be positive at that time, this will be negative. So this diode will be in reverse bias mode, so this will be open circuited. Okay, so you can see that uh, in on state this diode is open, so input energy or input supply will charge this inductor, and it will also charge this capacitor, and it will supply to this load. So basically we are having two on states and two off states. So in on state 1, this input side will charge this inductor, so the current through this inductor will rise linearly. Also at the same time it is charging this capacitor, and it is also supplying to this load. In on state 2, this capacitor is get enough charge. So in on state 2, the input actually it will charge this inductor, but this capacitor will also supply energy to this load. So both input side and the capacitor will supply energy to this load. Similarly in off state, the capacitor and the input side will supply energy to this load. Okay, but in that case you can say that in off state the switch is off, so this diode will be in forward bias because the inductor current it will continue to flow through this path. Okay, so in off state 1, the capacitor and whatever energy stored in this inductor will supply energy to this load. Okay, similarly in off state 2, this capacitor actually get discharged in off state 1, so it is getting charged whatever energy stored in this inductor, and also this inductor will supply energy to this load. Okay, and uh, that can be more clear if you understand the waveform that I'll discuss next. So these are the waveforms, so it's working. You can visualize better from this waveform. So you can see that we are supplying gate to source voltage to the MOSFET when proper VGS is supplied. Normally it is 10 to 15 volt in case of power MOSFETs. So when we have to supply VGS, the switch will be turned on. When we remove the VGS, the switch will be turned off. So for DTS time, the switch is turned on, and for 1 minus DTS time, the switch remains turned off. So turn on time is DTS, turned off time is 1 minus DTS. So you can see that in on time, as I discussed in the last class, that the applied voltage across the inductor will be V in minus VO. Okay, so you can see from here also. So in this case, so if we apply the KVL in this loop, so here voltage across this is VO. Okay, this side voltage is V in. Once this is turned on, the voltage across this is 0. So VL will be V in minus VO. Okay, so if you apply KVL in this loop, so VL you will find that V in minus VO, and also in buck converter V in is more than VO, so that means the voltage across this will be positive. So whenever positive voltage appears across the inductor, the current through it will be rising linearly, because current is given by 1 upon L integration V dt. So if we integrate, so V in up minus VO upon L times T. Okay, as time is increasing, the current through this inductor will increase linearly with slope V in minus VO upon L. So this inductor current actually will rise from some minimum value to some maximum value. Again we are considering continuous conduction mode. That means the inductor current is continue and it is not going to 0 before next switching cycle starts. So from some minimum value here, say I min, it is rising to some maximum value, say I max. Okay, during on time. So again during off time, you can see here, during off time this switch is turned off. So this is in forward biased, and if we are considering ideal diode, so this voltage across these 2 points will be 0. So if we apply KVL again in this loop, so VL plus VO is equal to 0. So arrow direction actually it is positive, this side it is negative, this is positive and this is negative. If we apply KVL here, so VL plus VO will be 0. So that means VL will be minus VO. Okay, so negative voltage will appear across this inductor. Again if you want to calculate the current, so IL will be um, 1 upon L integration V dt. V here it is VL here it is minus VO. So current will be 1 upon L minus VO times T. Okay, so you will find that the slope is now minus VO upon L, that is negative slope. So current will start falling linearly with time. Okay, so current in off state it is falling linearly. So here from this point to this point we are having one on state time, that is DTS. From here to here we are having off state time, that is 1 minus DTS. Again you can see that average inductor current, last time in last class I told that in power electronic circuit most of the time we are using KVL and KCL in average sense. So if we apply KCL at this node, Kirchhoff's current law at this node, so in that case the incoming current, that is IL, will be equal to the outgoing current, that is IC and IO. So average of IL will be average of IC, average of IO. So average of IC is 0 because average current in capacitor in one time period is 0. So IL average will be nothing but IO. So in this waveform you can see that average current this is actually IO. Okay, so from this you can see that this IL current it is increasing from some minimum value to some maximum value. So in on state 1, this is on state 1, from here to here you can see that IL is less than IO. So if you see the circuit diagram, so if IL is less than IO, so this side current is more. Okay, so you can see that this side current is less, this side current is more. So in that case, actually, this capacitor will supply the remaining current, because this is the DC current. Say for example, this is 20 ampere. Here we are having only 10 ampere. So remaining 10 ampere will come from this capacitor. Okay. So capacitor will get discharged. So you can see. So in this interval, IL is less than IO. Okay. So in that case, the inductor, um, the current from input side, or the inductor current and the capacitor current, both will supply to the load. Then at the end of on state 1, you can see that IL become more than I naught. Okay. So IL become more than I naught. So this current become more than this current. Okay. So the remaining current will flow through this capacitor and the capacitor will get charged. Okay. So on state 2, actually the inductor will supply to this, as well as input current will go to the load. Similarly, in off state, we are having two off states. So in off state 1, you can see IL is more than I naught. So for example, IL is say 15 ampere and load is only requiring 10 ampere. So 15 ampere will go to the capacitor. Then at this point of time 14 ampere will go. Then at this time 13 ampere will go. Then here 10 ampere will go. After that, the IL become less than I naught. So the capacitor will again get discharged. Okay, because I naught is taking fixed amount of current. If IL is less than that value, so capacitor will supply the remaining current. So capacitor actually getting charged and discharged twice in one time period. So one on state and one off state actually will make one switching period. Okay. So you can see from here, whatever at the end of the off period, uh, the current will reach to the initial point. Okay, or initial value. So this is the inductor current waveform. So from minimum value to maximum value, this difference actually is called the ripple in the inductor current. Okay, we represent that by delta IL. If you want to plot what is the current through the MOSFET switch, so you can see from the figure, this MOSFET current is nothing but IL during on time, because this diode is off. This diode is off, so you can see that IT is something like short circuit, and this will be equal. This is in series with inductor, so IL will be equal to IT during on time. During off time, this is open circuited. Okay, this switch is open circuited, so the current through this will be 0. So IT is IL during on time and it is 0 during off time. Then again during on time it is IL, during off time it is 0. Similarly for diode currents, you can see from the figure. So during on time this is open circuit, so ID will be 0. During off time, ID and IL, they both are in series, so ID will be equal to IL. So during on time it is 0, during off time it is IL. Again from minimum value to maximum value we are having delta IL. So the ripple in the MOSFET switch will be again delta IL. Similarly the ripple through the diode will be delta IL. Okay. Similarly, if we take out I naught from IL, we will get IC. You can see from the figure. So IC basically nothing but IL minus I naught. Okay. So in this, if we take I naught out from this, so we will get IC. So you can see that this point actually will shift to the origin point, to the x-axis line. Okay. Similarly, we can find what will be the voltage across the MOSFET switch and what is the voltage across the diode switch. So from the figure we can see, so once this is turned on, so voltage across this will be 0. Once this is turned off, we can apply the KVL. So in this loop, if we apply the KVL, the voltage across this MOSFET switch will be V in. Okay. Similarly for diode, so once it is conducting, the voltage across this will be 0, and during on time this is off, so voltage across this will be again V in. So you can see that the voltage across MOSFET, once it is conducting, it is 0. Once the switch is turned off, the voltage across the switch will be V in. Similarly for diode, once the MOSFET switch is conducting or on time, the voltage across this will be V in because it is open circuited, and during off time it is conducting, so voltage across this will be 0. Okay. So from these waveforms we can draw the conclusion for the ratings of these individual devices. So these are the working of different modes. You can read from these slides. Now if you want to calculate what is the ripple in the inductor current, so delta IL, the slope is V in minus VO upon L times T. If we substitute T is equal to DTS, we will get the maximum or the ripple in the output current or the inductor current. Okay. So in inductor current, V in minus VO times DTS upon L, or similarly from off time. Okay, once this is falling, so basically you can calculate either from this to this point delta IL, or from this point to this point. Both will give the same delta IL value. Okay, so this line have slope V in minus VO upon L. If we substitute T is equal to DTS, so we will get delta IL. Okay, similarly from here to here the slope is minus V naught upon L. If we substitute 1 minus DTS, we will get the maximum value, and if you want the magnitude, we can take the modulus of that. So if we equate these two, basically we will get the output and input relationship. So this is very important relationship for ripple current in the inductor. Okay. So output and input, basically they are related with duty cycle. So V output is equal to nothing but duty cycle times V in. Okay. Also we can obtain this relationship as I discussed in the last class, that we have to apply the volt second balance across the inductor or current second balance through the capacitor. Okay. So these input output relationships in DC-DC converter we can also establish with the help of volt second balance across the inductor. Okay, that is more convenient. You can follow that. Again, if you want to calculate the RMS value of this current, so in the last lecture I discussed that in sawtooth type of waveforms, the RMS value is given by this expression, that is delta IL square upon 12 plus IL average square. Okay, so ripple in the waveform divided by 12 plus this average value, and in buck converter we know that average current is nothing but I naught square. If we substitute delta IL from this expression, we can have IL RMS value. So TS actually normally is given in the form of switching frequency. So this expression we can write V naught 1 minus D upon Fs into L. Okay, so you can see from this relationship that if switching frequency is high, then delta IL will be low. That is, ripple in the inductor current will be low. Also, if you have higher value of inductance, then delta IL will be again low because these are appearing in the denominator. Okay. Also, we can find what is the RMS value of the capacitor current. So again, this is a sawtooth like waveform, and average of this will be this 0 line. Okay. So average of capacitor current is always 0. So we can substitute here 0 value and delta IL square upon 12. So delta IL again we can substitute from this, which is V naught 1 minus D TS upon L. Okay. So V naught we can replace with R times I naught. So here it will be I naught times 1 minus D. Okay. And here we are getting 2 root 3. Okay. So 2L upon 1R from here, TS from here. So 2L upon RTS will define as K. So this is very important terminology that will actually determine the continuous and discontinuous mode of operation and at its boundary value. Okay. So if we substitute that, ICRMS basically we can get I naught times 1 minus D upon root 3 times K. K is nothing but 2L upon RTS. So you remember this term, okay, 2L upon RTS, that we will use again and again in this unit actually. Again, what is the peak to peak ripple in the output voltage? So that we can actually calculate from the capacitor, because capacitor is connected in parallel with the load. Okay, so this peak to peak voltage ripple we can find from here. Okay, so actually you can see that uh, this is charging time. Okay, because IC is positive. This is the discharging interval, because IC is negative. So this time interval actually it is half or the midway. Okay, so this is TS by 2, and for TS by 2, remaining TS by 2, it is actually getting discharged. Okay, so positive charge accumulation will give the voltage ripple in the output, or negative, that means discharging interval also will give the same output ripple voltage. So this actually we have to find the area under this curve. Okay, because delta Q upon C, delta V is equal to nothing but delta Q upon C. So delta Q actually change in charge during charging time, or that also can be found from discharging time. So delta Q, uh, so this is IC, current versus time curve. So delta Q will be nothing but delta this area under this curve. Okay, charge is nothing but area under this curve. So area of this triangle will be half base into height. Base is TS by 2, height is delta IL upon 2. So from that we can, so you can see that delta V naught 1 upon C times delta Q. Delta Q is nothing but half base, base is TS by 2, and height is delta L IL upon 2. If you solve this, we will get the delta V naught value. So that is coming to be, if you substitute delta IL to be V naught 1 minus D. Okay, V naught, you can see that this is V naught 1 minus D times TS upon L. So if you substitute that value here, so delta V naught we are getting V naught 1 minus D TS square times 8 LC. And also we know that cutoff frequency in LC filter. So basically L and C are working as a LC filter. So cutoff frequency we can define as 1 upon 2 pi root LC. Okay. So here if we substitute, we are basically getting delta V naught upon V naught 1 minus D pi square upon 2 cutoff frequency upon switching frequency, which is given as 1 upon TS whole square. Okay. Therefore, the output voltage ripple depends on L and C product. You can see, okay, L and C product. Delta V naught is dependent on L and C product. Also, this is the switching frequency. Here we can write FC square, Fs square. Okay, so more switching frequency means lesser will be the ripple in the output voltage. Okay, also more value of L and C will ensure less value of the ripple in the output voltage, which is the desired criteria for designing of any DC-DC converter. Therefore, the output voltage ripple depends on L and C product. Usually L is selected to restrict the peak current of the converter and to prevent the converter to operate in discontinuous mode. So L is basically selected for that purpose, and to have lower value of delta V naught, basically we are selecting capacitor value in such a way that it is giving the desired output ripple, or within limit of the uh, output voltage ripple. Okay, now next thing is how to determine the component for designing the buck converter. Okay, so the rating of the component in any converter and any DC-DC converter can be derived from the voltage across and current through the component. Usually the voltage rating is the peak voltage across the component. Okay, the current rating is average value or RMS value depending on which type of component we are selecting. So through the component, if the component is resistive when conducting, RMS value of the current is considered for estimating its current rating, like for inductor, for capacitor, and for MOSFET. If we are using MOSFET as a switch, because of its RDS on during its conduction, we are considering it like a resistive element. Okay, so for that, for current rating of MOSFET, we have to use RMS value. The component behaves as a diode when conducting, that is forward voltage developed across the component when conducting. Average value of the current is considered. So for voltage rating, it is straightforward. The maximum voltage appearing across the device will be selected as the voltage rating. But for current rating, for MOSFET, for inductor, for capacitor, we have to consider the RMS value. Whereas for diodes, for BJT, thyristor, IGBT, any of these devices, we have to consider the average current. Okay, so we can summarize in table form like this. We are using this control switch, then diode, then L and C. So voltage rating, it is straightforward from the waveforms. So these waveforms actually drawn to understand the component ratings. So VT, you can see that maximum voltage appearing across the VT or across the switch is V in. So voltage rating of that will be V in. For diode also, the maximum voltage appearing across this will be V in. So voltage rating will be V in. Similarly for inductor, we can see that for inductor actually it is V in minus VO, then or it is minus VO. Okay, so maximum of these two values will give the voltage rating of the inductor. Either this will be maximum or this will be maximum. So based on that, we have to select the voltage rating of the inductor. Similarly for capacitor, it is connected across the load. So load whatever output voltage we are designing, so for that we have to select the capacitor voltage rating. So averages, for if we are using control switch as BJT, thyristor or IGBT, so for that actually we have to take the average. So you can see the average current here. So this average is I naught from here to here, then it is 0. Okay, so dts time I naught plus 1 minus dts times 0 divided by ts. So ts get cancelled, so we are getting d times I naught. Okay, so this is the average current through the MOSFET, through the switching device. Then through the diodes, we can find in the same manner. So this is I naught from here to here, but this is only for the time 1 minus dts for 1 minus d times ts. Okay, for dts time it is 0. So again we can calculate the average in one time period. So dts times 0 plus 1 minus dts time I naught whole divided by ts. So ts again get cancelled. So average id we are getting 1 minus d times I naught. Okay, for inductor we have already shown here that it is I naught. Okay, and for capacitor the average current is always 0. Okay, so RMS current, basically RMS current is required for determining the current ratings of uh, control switch if it is MOSFET, and we have to also require it for the current ratings of inductor and capacitor. So for T you can see that RMS value we can find from here. So for this control switch you can see here. So this is actually this inductor value. So for dts time, whatever RMS current of this inductor, we are getting same for the MOSFET switch. Okay, so dts times this value plus 1 minus dts times 0 divided by ts. So ts get cancelled, so we are getting d times this value. Okay, similarly for diode, it is for 1 minus dts because it is on only for 1 minus d times ds. Okay. For inductor already we calculated delta IL square upon 12 plus I naught square. Delta IL already we defined. If different parameters are given, we can find what is delta IL. Okay. So in calculation of all these, we have to first calculate delta IL because everywhere it is appearing. Okay. So it is better to calculate delta IL. One small mistake here, you can write delta IL capital delta IL, okay, instead of small delta IL. For capacitor also the same current is appearing, but average is 0. So average part we have taken 0. So delta IL upon square root 2 or 2 root 3 here we can write. So this will give the current ending of the capacitor. Okay. So this concept will remain same for boost converter, buck boost converter, any of the DC-DC converter you will study. First you have to analyze the circuit, then you have to draw the waveforms, then you have to analyze the on time and off time, and certain parameters you have to calculate. Based on that, you can construct one summary table to select the ratings of the converter. Okay. Now we are having two problems here, so you can solve these two problems. These are very simple problems. You just go through this lecture, and I think you will be able to solve these two problems. Okay, thank you.